Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to another live session with Insight Timer. I'm very happy to be here, and as always, I'll give you a moment to settle in, to connect, to say your hellos and highs, and just get ready for our weekly session. So, how are you? How have you been? How was your day? Where are you coming from? I'm always curious to know before the beginning of the session who's here for the first time. Perhaps raise a virtual hand and say hi or I, whatever you wish. Be wonderful to know. Kira is here for the first time and the cat is here for the first time. Michael from Slovakia for the first time. Richard, Drew, Lisa, so many first timers. Warm welcome to all of you. So happy to see you here. Jess from North Carolina and Alessandra from Brazil. Sorry, there are so many of us. I apologize if I don't shout out your name. It's simply impossible. So many new faces. How wonderful. And we're welcome to all regular listeners. You are the core of this group, and I want to thank you for your presence. Please extend your welcome to all the newcomers and make them feel welcome here in this group as we continue our session. Okay, today's music will be Space of Love by Paulo Arellano. I strongly recommend this one. This is a piece of music I meditate to in times when I need a background, when I need some extra inspiration for my meditations. It's a wonderful piece, and pretty much everything by Pablo is phenomenal. He's obviously one of the teachers here on Insight Timer, so please visit his profile and check his offering. For those of you who are here for the first time, maybe I'm going to start with saying a couple of words about myself. And maybe a technical thing for you before I start. For those of you who are watching me on mobile devices, you can watch me in a portrait mode. But if you tilt your device and start watching me in a landscape mode, you can have it full screen and see quite a few of the things I'll be showing on the screen. So this might be the better way of watching this stream. So as you can see on the screen, my name is Tomek. I'm a teacher here on Insight Timer. I'm also a scientist and a mentor on Insight Timer. So many different functions and roles and hats I'm putting on, all for the betterment of myself and you. That's my role as a teacher. I've been here for quite a few years, and if you are not familiar with my meditations, you are more than welcome to check them out. They're all out there for free, available 24/7, whenever you need them, whenever your state of mind, whatever your needs. And yes, as you may see on the screen, my main job here, as I describe it, is to facilitate a shift in consciousness. Every time we get together during those sessions, I think about better and new ways of inspiring you to live a better, more fulfilled, more connected life. And that's something that I wish to you as much as I wish to myself. And that's something that connects us during those sessions. And I'm very excited to do it because I believe this is something of a great importance for all of us here on this planet. The learning, the growing, discovering our true self and getting over the human condition, or even better, incorporating it within the larger consciousness system, for lack of better words. And I want to thank you for being here, because you are the substance of this group. I'm just a one person, but there are so many of you right now connecting and tuning in, for which I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for your presence. I'm grateful for your support, for all so many donations that you always give me during those sessions. Also for your private messages, for joining the circle that is always there for you, where you can answer those questions. So together we can explore the nature of personal reality. And that's the title of today's session, the nature of personal reality. I personally started discovering more consciously this aspect, the nature of personal reality, being interested quite a few years ago. But this is an ongoing journey, and I think that's something that I want to highlight. That this is an ongoing, personal and unique journey that every and each of us going through. And as with everything, sometimes it's good to have a company and walk this path together. Because what I found is that learning things together, it's a better, a faster way to moving forward. And I believe that's the purpose behind these sessions. That's why we are social creatures. There is an added benefit of, or acceleration of, the growth and learning and experiencing when we are together. And once again, I want to express my gratitude for your presence here. So if you have maybe at the beginning the session, do you have any questions? I'm going to take a look at the there's so many comments. Thank you, Caroline, for your kind donation. Thorodream is here. Hello, Thorodream. Hello, Sia. Hello, Charlotte. Hello, Caroline. Hello, Kat. Michael says, definitely good to have a company. Been alone for the last 4 months in different country, going through breakup after 7 years, troubles with my cervical spine. So really looking forward to good company and healing. Thank you for coming here, Michael. That's absolutely wonderful. You are very welcome to be here, because this is the space where healing occurs, where you sense the presence of all the others. Martise says, I just treated you to an American coffee. Thank you, Martise. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a big connoisseur of coffee, and I'll be very glad to have an American coffee. Thank you, Martise. I absolutely appreciate it. So let me jump straight into this right now, and I want to start with quotes, which you should be able to see on your screen as an inspiration. As I read through many things, as I study myself, those things appear sometimes on the canvas, and I use them as an inspiration, which I want to share with you. On the way to progress to higher life and light, I'm sorry that disappeared. On the way to progress to higher life and light, we encounter obstacles that from the perspective of the body seem impossible to overcome. And to show you what I mean, I want to share with you a story of mine when I was only 5 years old. How this overcoming happens, and how we always battle the physical and the non-physical part of our personality. So obviously, when one is 5 years old, the unconscious part of it is still underdeveloped. We are pretty much a clean slate, or tabula rasa, as they say in Latin, and there's not much obstacles. So we have obviously the physical part is slightly developed, the mental part not so much. But nevertheless, I remember when I was 5 years old, my parents bought me a brand new pair of skis. Back there in Poland, the winters were pretty strong. There was a lot of snow. And one of the things I loved is playing in the snow. And the skis was one of the best gifts I could receive. They were just cheap plastic skis. But I remember how much I enjoyed them. And very soon I started very slowly, just being pulled by my parents. But eventually I joined other kids on this little slope. And I remember standing on top of that little tiny hill and thinking to myself how wonderful it would be to go down the slope as I saw other kids doing. But I was a little guy. I only learned how to ski. And looking down the slope was terrifying. And I thought to myself, I'm never gonna make it. And yet, in spite of the fear, there was something in me that really wanted to do it. It was an impulse that I could not possibly ignore. And at that stage of my life, I did not understand, why do we have those impulses? And why do we have those fears? Where are they coming from? This is only after so many years I bring that story to my mind and I start unwrapping the significance of this event when I was only 5 years old. And obviously, after so many weeks of trying to challenge myself, at some point, I gathered my courage with a pit in my stomach. And I still remember the memory from 5 years old, when I went down the slope. And obviously, exhilaration, joy, fantastic feeling came upon me. Maybe that's why I remember it so well. And obviously I came down from that slope, and I was all laughing and all smiling, and everything was wonderful. And then with a bit of less fear, I did it for the second time and third time. And by the end of the week, going down that little slope was not a problem at all. When I came back there, also decades later, I've noticed that the size of the slope is just a couple of meters. It's really, from the perspective of an older person, this is not challenge at all. You would think to yourself, why this is even a challenge? But as we grow up, we integrate the fears and the impulse, the fear coming from the physical part of our personality. We have inbuilt programs that come with our physical body that tell us, don't do it, stay safe. That's where fear comes. And fear has an important role to play. Fear is a signal that, maybe there's a danger. Maybe you should not go there. Maybe you should not do that. And evolutionary has a very important role to play to protect us from injuring ourselves, perhaps even from getting ourselves killed. But on the other side, there is that non-physical, something that, again, not everybody understands. It's something that you can always feel. There is this impulse, the other part of our personality that for most of the time is hidden from us, that pushes us through the fear. Because if you think about it, all the progress that happened throughout our history was possible through overcoming the fear, something that is so built in our physical body. The nature of the physicality is to have fear, is to survive, is to be safe. But there's always the other part, the impulse that comes not from the physical part of the personality, but what you may call the soul personality, the higher self, the intelligence that we still try to understand and incorporate. And that's what we deal with here. That's what I try to address. How those two things must come together if we want to live a fulfilled life. There is the physical part of our body that very often seems like an obstacle. As I said, the body, from the perspective of the body, those, if you remember the quote, once again, from the perspective of the body, those obstacles seem to be impossible to overcome, but yet we do it. And the moment we do it, we feel the surge of energy. We feel as we come to life. Because ultimately, it is our destiny, it is our purpose to bring the physical and non-physical part of our personality, and in a way that we only can experience and only we can discover, give in to those impulses. And that takes courage. That takes courage. And we always perceive our physical body as an obstacle. But I think that as we go through our life, we must realize that body is not an obstacle. Body is an instrument of letting the impulse into the physical reality. You may think that, maybe the non-physical, the consciousness, is the higher, more evolved part of us. But that's not true, because that higher, more evolved part would not find a way out if not for the physical body that gives you means of experiencing those things. And maybe I'm going to give you another quote right now that inspired me on this journey to exploring the nature of physical reality. And will help me to make my another point. Even highly developed human personality has to give in to the impulse that comes from the soul. And I think this is something that we deal with on a daily basis. Throughout our upbringing, we take on a lot of fear. And some of this fear is justified. And some of this fear is very superficial. And it's up to us to decide how to overcome those fears. And at the same time, as the physical body provides us with a lot of obstacles, right, to provide the safety and security, we work and we try to also listen to the impulse that comes from the higher self, or from the soul level if you want to, which is from the higher consciousness, that can be expressed. So there is fear and there is the impulse. There's a physical and the soul level. There's a dweller on the threshold. And we constantly moving between one and the other. And something that maybe show us and show you how this battle works is shown throughout the history of humanity. If you look at the development and history of religion in Christianity, that I was brought up as a Christian, and there was always the physical body that's the source of all the problems. And you can observe how we, in the Christian tradition, you have to punish your physical body and stop your physical body from doing all those sinful things. And what you want to achieve is to connect with the soul, with the purest part. But as you observe the history, that was the natural development, the separation that religion put between one and the other. And as religion developed, also in the religious study, they start going away from this concept that there is a bad and a good part, and we should listen to the good part and abandon the bad part. We cannot abandon the physical body. We have to learn how to bring the impulse into the physical body. And even if the personality is highly developed, right? Even if we have the intelligence to do what we want, we must to give in to the impulse if we want to live happy and fulfilled life. The fulfillment, finding a purpose, is very much dependent on that impulse and listening to it. And I believe that exactly what is happening during the meditation, when we have a time to slow down and we can observe the thoughts that come from the physical part. We've been programmed in a certain way. We go through life, we learn things, we observe people, and there are certain obstacles certain patterns that we perceive as obstacles. But at the same time, there is this maybe smaller voice, maybe a whisper that tells us, well, if you want to really live your life, you have to go this way. And the fear very often stops us from doing it. And that's okay. But slowly, as we learn to listen to that voice a bit more, we gather courage and we integrate the physical and non-physical. And in the same way as religion evolved from punishing physical body and glorifying the soul level to integrating them together, you can observe the same paradigm in science. I'm a scientist, so very often I look at the world in a very specific scientific way. And what you see in science at the beginning, science only recognized the matter. The matter was the focal point of all the scientific discovery simply because we could measure, we could assess material things better. We could weigh them. We could tell how long are they? What is the volume? We could take all the physical measurements related, by the way, to physical body, to the most importantly to your sight, that you could smell it, you could feel it, right? We did not possess non-physical abilities to allow us to measure only of the objects in any possible way. But then as science developed, and keep in mind, that's only development of the past maybe 150 years, we started discovering that actually underlying part of matter is energy, something that we cannot see. And we cannot measure simply using just a ruler or a scale. And that discovery created a massive shift in our understanding of science and give away to everything that we see here. We cannot possibly see electricity. We cannot possibly see the GSM waves that connect our mobile phones. And yet we can talk long distance. So we started recognizing that what is fundamental in science, in the same as in religion was body and soul, in science was matter and energy. And what scientists discover is that one does not exist without the other. And most importantly, there's a transformation and translation between one to the other. And the interconnection that I try to point out to you, how one translates into the other. I'm going to ask you, how many of you know this equation? E equals mc squared. That's the famous equation. And a base to what I just said. The base of unifying the world of matter, the physical and visible world, to the world of energy, the invisible. On the one side of this equation, E represents energy. On the other side of the equal sign is mc squared. M is a mass, and C is the speed of light. And that speed of light is squared. So what it means, actually, that light connect mass with the energy. And that discovery, done so beautifully by Albert Einstein, is the underlying fundament for the modern science. Unifying theory of matter and energy. Perhaps one of the biggest discoveries in science so far. But also as a scientist and a spiritual person, that gives me a better understanding of the evolution of the human personality and the nature of human personality. In the same way as religion unifies body and soul, and science unifies matter and energy, the same for us, it is very important to recognize that your body is not obstacle to connecting with the higher self, but your body is a mean of expressing the higher self. So all those pesky thoughts that you experience during your meditation, all these things that you don't want to feel, they are actually means of expressing yourself. And the more we evolve, the more we grow, the more we mature, we start recognizing and unifying those two together. And I believe what happens in the space of meditation is the closer communication between those two, between the bodily functions. You can feel the sensations in your body. You can feel fear as a pit in your stomach. You can feel various sensations representing emotional states. The non-physical communicating with the physical body communicating with the soul level. And once we slow down and we start observing those thoughts, however those thoughts might be not welcome sometimes, the closer we look, the more we observe the dance between the physical and non-physical part of our personality. How body wants to have one say, and the impulse that comes from the soul level wants to contribute and wants to be expressed as well. And I think that's what the learning is. The more we learn, the better we learn to use our body as a tool of expressing the impulse, the more joy we experience. Because ultimately that's what's the purpose. It's the merging on one and the other. in the center of our personality, no longer perceived as either physical or non-physical, but together. In our meditation, experiencing the thoughts, the inner chatter, and experiencing the gaps from which the impulse comes, and slowly expressing yourself. I believe that's what happens with artists and musicians and poets. They are sensitive to the impulse from within, and they use the physical skill, whether it's the voice, whether it's a musical instrument, whether it's a poetry, whether it's an art, as a way of expressing that impulse. But notice that that expression, all these beautiful works of arts, poetry, and music, would not be possible if not for this imperfect physical body, so to speak, that we so frequently try to punish and blame for our wrongdoings. So once again, one has to come with the other. The nature of personal reality, the focal point in which both of them meet together and they can interact in a meaningful way. How does it sound to you, I wonder? I'm going to check a couple of comments right now. Okay. Nima says, I grew up among musicians, and this is so true. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that at least some of this, everything, sometimes I say things, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, well, actually in the comment section in my circle, I mentioned that this session may be a bit more philosophical and more esoteric, but I think I hope you do have a feeling for that interaction between the physical part of our personality and soul or higher self part of personality, and the interaction. Doesn't matter what I say, doesn't matter what I teach. It is entirely up to you to learn to utilize this knowledge. And as Tom Campbell said, we do not learn through books or through lectures or through live streams like this one. We learn through experience and through interacting. And that is why I always, perhaps the most important part of those sessions is the practical part. When we get to sit and actually experience for ourselves and for yourself personally how this interaction happens within the space of meditation. And once again, I want to highlight that meditation is a wonderful playground to experience those things, because we can slow down the process that normally happens so fast that we might miss the point when the impulse tries to come in, when the intuition happens. We simply running so fast we might not see it. But in meditation, we intentionally slow down. And the chances of observing that gap between one pesky thought and another, observing the compulsive part that comes from the physical body, from our upbringing, from the instinct, from the programming, that when it subsides a bit, the space is being created. And the chances of observing how the impulse, how the intuition comes in are much greater. Okay. Ursula says physical body serves a purpose, particularly in our 3D reality. We were given it for a reason, whether we like or not. Absolutely right. I believe that's the Ursula beautifully put it into put it what is the most important part of the message, right? We embrace our body rather than rather blame it for all our wrongdoings. Oh, so many comments. I wish to continue our conversation, obviously, but we are bound by time, and I try to finish this session within 1 hour. So if you wish to ask me more questions and continue this conversation, there's a beautiful place where you can do it. We have a circle which you can join, and where conversation is happening, and I answer all those questions, and all of you can contribute and discuss and make comments. So please feel free to join us there after this session. And if I miss some of your questions, some of your comments, because they sometimes pass so quickly, please do come back and ask them there. I'll be waiting to answer them. But for now, let us meditate. And as I said at the beginning, let us walk together for a moment this path of discovery and see for yourself how it plays out, that interaction of our personality. Okay. So make yourself feel comfortable. Again, we'll be listening to Space of Love by Pablo Arellano to support our process. As you can see, I need to relax my body also slightly. In the excitement of talking to you, sometimes I tense up myself. Well, the transmission comes. And in order for me to guide you through this meditation, I have to recognize that simple nature of my physical personality. So let me start by taking one deep cleansing breath. And as I do it, I can feel how through the expansion I flex muscles of my chest and I release some of that excitement that right now would get in the way of the meditation. So as you settle down and get into your meditation posture, I invite you to rest your feet on the floor. Put your hands in your lap. With your back straight but not rigid, sit in a way that is comfortable and easy. And you may already feel the relaxation coming in. Slowly extending the invitation for the inner process to begin. Allow your eyes to close. And begin by setting the intention or an intention for this period. To connect with both the bodily and the soul level of your personality. Be open to receive those impulses and intuitions that are an expression of your true self. And there may be the inner chatter, there may be bodily sensations that get in the way of this transmission, but recognize them simply as a part of the process and not an obstacle. And welcome them too. On some level, they are expression of you. So to help this process, I invite you to focus your attention initially on your breath, the constant companion. Regardless of your emotional state, your breath is always with you. And it reflects your mental emotional state in some way. So make your breath your anchor for this meditation. And as you focus gently on the action of breathing, observe what is coming to your awareness. There may be a thought, maybe an emotion. And also notice how between one thought, one sensation, one thought and another, there are gaps. And those gaps are the opportunity for the higher self to manifest, to express itself. And welcome everything that comes your way. Assume a position of an observer of everything that happens. Curiously, consciously, observing the dance of two parts of your personality. And at first, the thoughts and sensations and emotions may feel dominant, because that's what we train ourselves to throughout the day. But as we continue slowing down, the gaps between those become bigger and bigger. And we wait patiently with curiosity for the expression, for the insight, willing to know thyself better. Do not discarding either part, not choosing one over the other, but with the intention of bringing them both together. And you may find things that you did not expect. And also the things that are ordinary. and things that are always there. Opening your awareness to all experiences. Making your physical body more receptive. Collectively creating space in which we can explore space into which the impulse may flow freely, sensitizing ourselves and receiving those messages from the self. Consider it a safe space to which you are welcome. The space which you help co-creating for all of us meditating here. Settling in and making the effort, you become an essential ingredient of this meditation. Your valid contribution helps all of us to walk this path together, to feel more free, to have the collective courage of facing whatever there is. Maybe there are fears, maybe there are concerns, but looking at them strong with the strength of the group helps us to understand that all of them are insignificant. Like the heel for a little boy that tried to ski down the slope, full of fear, looking as an adult growing up, seeing that was just an obstacle to be overcome and there was nothing to fear. It is within our power to embrace it. As we evolve, as we mature, we embrace those fears, we transform them. We know that sooner or later those fears must give in to the impulse that comes from the higher self, comes from the true self. The impulse that wants to be expressed by the means of this physical body. Allowing the message to come in. The meditation space where we slow down, being more and more receptive. It's time to return, gathering all the experience and new knowledge, the learning that happened in this space. Embracing the new learned courage to face the reality a bit wiser. Express your gratitude for this experience. Say thanks to yourself for giving yourself this opportunity. And give thanks to all of us who co-created this space, making this journey slightly easier, because it is much easier to travel together. It is more joyful to explore in a good company. Now, once again, start reconnecting with your physical senses, embracing the physicality of the self, feeling your feet on the floor, your hands in your lap, sensing the boundaries of your physical body, slowly moving your toes, stretching and flexing fingers, slowly and gently tilting your head to the left and feeling how your muscles in your neck react. Tilt your head slowly and gently to the right. Back to the center, and let us all together at the same time take one deep cleansing breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when you're ready, open your eyes and welcome back. Okay, how wonderful. Oh, hello, Tom. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So, how did it feel? It is always such a pleasure to meditate in a group. It's absolutely wonderful. And I want to thank you for your presence, for your contribution to this meditation. As this session comes to the end, I want to express my gratitude for everything that you do, for your contributions in the circle, for your messages, for your kind donations. Also want to say that thanks to Insight Timer, I'm able to do mentoring sessions. And the nature of mentoring session is to explore, delve and dive deeper into the nature of your personality. And together we may discover something new or something important for you, which is not possible during those group sessions. That's why those mentoring sessions are intended for, to give us some more time and more space to explore the details of your personal reality. And you can do it in many different ways. As I said, you can join the circle when the conversation is happening, simply type in your app an Insight Timer Tomek Circle, and you'll be always welcome there. Welcome by me and almost 350 other members that are waiting and are conversing in that space. If you miss any or any part of this meditation, I always put them to my YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and type Tomek Guided Meditations, you can watch this and other previous sessions there in the comfort of your own, in your own time, in your own space, and revisit some of those things that we were talking about. Also, if you want to be notified about anything that happens, about new events, just come to my profile, subscribe or follow me, and then turn on the notifications as you can see on the screen. That will help you to receive a small notification every time that new event happens. I usually have events on Tuesday morning Sydney time, which is pretty much the same time as experiencing them now. So you are more than welcome to come there. You can also connect with me through one-on-one. That is possible now apparently through iPhones and Androids. So that's wonderful. But most importantly, I want to thank you right now for your presence and for being here with me. It was a joyful time. I certainly look forward to connecting with you and meditating with you during the following sessions. I'm glad you could join me. And I wish you a beautiful day or a pleasant evening wherever you are. And until next time, bye-bye.